Okay, so today we're going to be adding integers. And just a quick reminder, an integer is a whole number that is either positive or negative, and it also includes the number 0. You guys already have practiced adding positive integers, and the only difference is today we're going to be adding the component of negative integers. In order to do this, we're going to start with using a number line. When you use a number line, you want to start at 0. After that, you're going to look at whether you have a positive or a negative number. If you have a positive number, you're going to move to the right that many spaces. And if you have a negative number, you're going to move to the left that many spaces. So go ahead and pause the video. Make sure you write down this blue box for me. When you're done writing this down, you are going to push play. Okay, so now you can look at an example. It says -4 plus -2. So I'm going to start at 0, which is right here, and I'm going to move, since it's a negative number, I'm going to move to the left 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then plus a -2. This right here does not mean it's a positive sign. It means we're doing the operation of addition. And now I need to add -2, so I'm going to go 2 more to the left. That would put me right here, which would be -6. So to recap, I started at 0, then I moved 4 spaces to the left, and then 2 more spaces to the left. So I can say that -4 plus -2 equals -6. If you need more time to write that down, you can pause and then push play when you're ready to move on. Okay, so using a number line to add these two integers, -7 plus 4. So sometimes you're going to be in charge of creating your own number line, and other times you're going to be given one. Remember that in front of our classroom, we always have our number line, and then you guys will as well get your own number lines that you can use. So the first thing is we start at 0. So I'm going to start at 0, and then it says -7. So I need to go -7 spaces. Some of you can just know that's right here. Other of you may want to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then from here, I'm going to add. If there's no sign in front, I know it's positive. So now I need to move to the right 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it would give me -3. So -7 plus 4 would give me -3. Now, some of you may be saying, I can do this in my head, and for the time being, we're going to practice using our number line, but that's a good thing if you can do this already in your head. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be practicing is using chips to help us. And how we're going to use our chips to help us is right here. It says add integers using red and blue tiles. So on our number line, our red symbolizes our negative numbers and our blue symbolizes our positive numbers. So right here I have 8 negative chips and 15 positive chips. Now a negative and a positive equals 0. So this right here, negative and a positive chip would equal 0. So this together would equal 0. This together would equal 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So now what I have left over is all of these blue chips. So -8 plus 15 would equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is another way of doing it without using our number line. Now, instead of using chips, you can draw with a red and blue pen. You can make a circle. You can fill one in. There's lots of different ways you can do this, and it's a good method if you don't have a number line or if you're not as comfortable using the number line. Okay, so you're going to try this one using chips. 5 plus -9. So my first number is positive, so I'm going to use blue chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just use dots to make it easy and to show you that you can do the same. And then now I need to do 9 negative chips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, when I look at this, these two right here would cancel and make it 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And I have 4 left over, and they are the color red. So positive 5 plus negative 9 would equal negative 4. So that's another method you could use. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to use the absolute value. This is going to be very beneficial when we practice our addition as we get into the second part of this lesson. So the absolute value is the distance from 0 to a number on the number line. And this is not the same thing as an opposite. So a lot of students get confused with absolute value and opposite. So I would take your highlighter, write this definition down, highlight it, and then put maybe absolute value versus opposite and make sure you know the difference. So the absolute value is the distance from 0 to any number on a number line. So how many spaces is it away from 0? Let's look at an example. This says, this symbol right here means the absolute value. It says the absolute value of 4 equals 4. And on a number line, if I draw out a number line, and I had 0 right here, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. You would agree that my number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from 0. Now this one over here says the absolute value of negative 4 is also 0. So if I went in the other direction, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4. It would also be 4 spaces away. So the absolute value is always going to be a positive. It just tells you the distance away from 0, not the direction. So go ahead and pause the video and try these 4 problems. Find the absolute value of 100, negative 9, negative 45, and 22. Go ahead and push play when you're ready to check your answers. So the absolute value of 100 was 100. The absolute value of negative 9 was 9. The absolute value of negative 45 is 45. And the absolute value of 22 is 22. Remember that the symbol of absolute value is 2 lines on the side. I make mine extra big so I don't get them confused with the 1 because it can be tricky. Okay, so these are just some notes and we're going to do different examples for each one. I would like for you to pause the video first, write them all down, and then come back and push play. Okay, so the first one says the sum of 2 positive integers is positive. So an example of this would be 2 plus 3 equals 5. This is what you would have learned in kindergarten and first grade before you started working with negative integers. Then this one says the sum of 2 negative integers is negative. So negative 3 plus negative 5 is going to give me negative 8. Okay, and then this is where it gets a little bit more tricky. The sum of a positive integer and a negative integer is, and there's 3 parts to this. It'll be positive if, so make sure you see that, it's positive if the positive number has a greater absolute value. So an example of this would be, I'm going to put my example right up here before I erase it. If I had 8 plus negative 5, my answer is going to be positive because the absolute value of 8 is 8 and the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Which one has a greater absolute value? My positive number. Therefore, my answer will be positive, and the answer is 3. And for these right now, you're just using a number line or chip, so you can do that in your head. We'll save that for tomorrow, okay? Let's look at another one. This one says it's negative if the negative number has a greater absolute value. So if I said 5 plus negative 11, negative 11 has a farther distance away from 0, so it's going to be a negative number, and that would equal negative 6. If you did this with chips, you would see that there's more red tiles than blue tiles, and therefore in the end you're going to have more red tiles left over. So it will be a negative number. And the last one is it will equal 0 if they both have the same absolute value. So an example of that would be negative 4 plus negative 4. My 4s are looking crazy today. And that would equal, negative 4 plus positive 4, and that would equal 0. Make sure you correct that mistake. So another one would be negative 3 plus 3. So you have a negative value and a positive value. They both have the absolute value of 3, so your answer would be 0. So that's going to be it for today's lesson. There is a second part to this lesson where we use adding integers without using a number line or chips. Okay, make sure you have all your notes and go ahead and close out of the video.